All right, this is a really, really poorly shot, but hopefully helpful video for the 4 people who are out there still rocking Gen 1 or 2. This is specifically for Gen 1, but probably applies a lot to Gen 2. SV650s with Gixxer or non-SV front ends or Speedos that no longer work for whatever reason. So right here we've got my 2006 GSXR 600, 750, whichever, they're the same fork, and a Gixxer wheel. On this wheel, there are magnets that I have fitted into the rotor buttons. So these make the rotor float. They do things, it doesn't matter. Through here, we have an M3 screw that you can I think you can see that. Yep, there we are. So there is an M3 screw with the V-shaped countersunk head that goes into a very specific kind of magnet that is linked. That magnet is just pressed up against the button. And then there is a nylock washer, or excuse me, a washer, a fender washer, and then a nylock nut on the backside. I also, in there on each of those, maybe it'll focus, please. That's close enough. On each of them, I did put a little bit of blue Loctite. These rotate very close to your caliper, and you do not want them to like come off and perhaps get into your braking system or stop the wheel in some way. Not that a tiny little thing is gonna stop you and cause you to flip or anything, but it'll definitely be a bad day for parts and people. Basically, you will then, so you got to fit those on the wheel. You will want 4, preferably as evenly spaced as possible. These are OEM style rotors. There's 8 buttons. I put 1 on every other, and it's sorted. These will go on the right side, the brake side, whatever you want to call that. As you can see, where'd it go? There we are. Wheel rotates this way, and if the wheel is rotating this way, that means this is the direction of travel. Right side rotor, brake side, whatever you want to call it. On your fork leg, you will need to mount this little thing. This is off the fender mount. I just have it mounted on here for demo purposes. My front end is apart for reasons. I have a tiny piece of aluminum flat. This is 3/4 and 1/16 inch. Through that, I drilled 2 holes there we go, 2 holes so that I could put bolts through it. I got those bolts mounted. While this was all on the bike, I installed the wheel. Once I installed the wheel, I could tell how high the I'm out of hands, but this black piece with the wire coming out of it, which is the Hall effect sensor, I could tell where that needed to go, and it needs to line up with the buttons, more importantly the magnets in case you're mounting them in some other way. I could tell where it needed to go. I drilled the hole. I then put it on. You have to space it rather close to the magnets. This is sort of a try and see thing. If you have a fork stand, a front stand of some kind, that makes your life a whole lot easier doing this, because you can just spin the wheel and see if it moves the speedo. And if it doesn't, then you probably need to make the Hall effect sensor get closer to the magnets. You can do that, as I've done here, by basically sticking the Hall effect sensor as far out as it can. And as you can tell, I had a couple extra washers added because I didn't want to run out of threads. And that's even pretty close. This again has blue Loctite on the Hall effect sensor, so that'll not move. It's also squeezed on there as tight as I can get it. That covers the actual like front end modification stuff. And as far as the electronic connector, again linked will be the exact model of this connector. If you have an SV650 speedo sensor that doesn't work, you can just cut that up and use this connector, or you can buy like a 10-pack of these for $5 on Amazon or eBay, And this connector, if you're looking at the bike from the seated position, plugs in on the front of the steering stem in this direction. And from this direction, you'll see, it doesn't matter. So there is the key. The keying is on this, I'm going to call it the top side, nothing on the back side. On the top side, with this particular Hall effect sensor that is linked, there we are, it goes black, blue, pale, tannish, peach, whatever you want to call that. There's a picture now of it actually plugged in with the colors lined up, and they're on screen. Figure it out. It's not super hard, but a lot of old dead links exist on the forums, and I figured that it was time for somebody to recenter all of that. And hopefully this has been mildly useful. Goodbye.